Hello everyone. So in the last video we have discussed about introduction part where we have gone through some situations with one activity and we have gone through chemical equations. So what is the difference between chemical reaction and equation we have gone through, and we have gone through how to balance a chemical equation by hit and trial method. Okay, and we have discussed about types of chemical reaction. First we have discussed about combination reaction, then we have discussed about decomposition reaction. Okay, then we have discussed about this much only. I think we have discussed. So let us go through displacement reaction. Okay, very important, as usually in exam part it will ask for displacement reaction balancing. So let us know what do you mean by displacement reaction. So displacement reaction is a chemical process where a more reactive element replaces a less reactive element compound and from its compound. For example, if we take AB, okay, and plus C if I add, so the more reactive element is AB, so it will replace the less reactive, that is AC. So here it will take AC plus B. So this type of reaction is said to be displacement reaction, or you can write in this way also, AB plus B, AB plus C. Here A you can write plus BC, means here the more reactive element will replace the less reactive element. So this type of reaction is said to be displacement reaction. So there are certain examples which is given in your NCERT book, which is given. Let me see. Okay. Now, why does the iron nail becomes brownish in color and the blue color of copper sulfate solutions fades? The following chemical reaction takes place. Now see here, one example is given. Iron plus copper sulfate, when it reacts with then if it reacts, then it will form iron sulfate and plus Cu. So here we can able to see that the more reactive element, it replaces the less reactive element from its compound. That kind of reaction is said to be single displacement reaction. More authentically we can say. Okay, so here in this reaction, iron has displaced or removed another element, copper, from copper sulfate solution. This reaction is said to be displacement reaction. So I hope everyone have understood about displacement reactions. So here are certain examples of displacement reactions, like zinc plus copper sulfate solution. It forms what Zn, it replaces with SO4, so then Cu is released. Like that, lead, when it reacts with copper chloride, then form what lead chloride plus copper. So zinc and lead are more reactive elements than copper. They displace copper from its compounds. Means a more reactive element, when it replaces with less reactive element, that is said to be as single displacement reaction. Now let us discuss about double displacement reaction. Okay, double displacement reaction. Okay, then here in this double displacement reaction, we are going to go through one concept, that is precipitation reaction and neutralization reaction. But before that, we should know that what is meant by double displacement reaction. So double displacement reaction means, here we can able to understand, let me highlight this thing. Okay, so here double displacement reaction means it is a chemical reaction where two ionic compounds, okay, so in an aqueous solution exchange ions to form two new compounds. That is said to be double displacement reaction. Usually one of the products is an insoluble solid or precipitate, a gas or water. Okay, so now see, for example, if we take double displacement reaction, means a chemical reaction where two ionic compounds, Now first of all, let us know ionic compounds. So ionic compounds means where the transferring of the electrons takes place, that is said to be ionic compounds. So here what happened, that where two ionic compounds in aqueous solution, especially here sodium sulfate, barium sulfate, then in aqueous solution, in the ionic compounds in aqueous solution, when they exchange ions, means cations or anions. Okay, so cations means positive charge and anions means negative charge, to form new compounds. Here we can able to see, and here let us understand briefly. Okay, so now see, here sodium sulfate and barium chloride is there. This sodium will replace chlorine. Okay, so here we get one compound, that is sodium chloride, whereas this barium, it will replace with sulfate, so barium sulfate it will form. So here when these two ionic compounds in an aqueous solution, when they react each other and they exchange ions, cations and anions, to form new compounds, that kind of phenomenon is said to be double displacement reaction. Hope you understood. So now precipitate, now let us understand precipitate means what. Like key characteristics, well, let's know about the key characteristics. Like ion exchange, it takes positive ions and negative ions swap partners, means they will flip flop their partners. Sodium, it will react with means chlorine, and barium, it will react with sulfate. So reactants are usually dissolved in water. Precipitation means many are precipitation reaction when a solid forms. Precipitation is nothing but when an insoluble solid is being formed, that is said to be precipitation reaction. Okay, now let us know next page, that is, I think this is single displacement over, then double displacement also is over. Okay, now let us know about neutralization reaction, where it is not written, but still let us go through it. Okay, neutralization reaction means when an acid, it reacts with base, when an acid, it reacts with base, then it forms respective salts plus water. Okay, so here if I take the example of HCl, acid one example of HCl, and base if I take NaOH, then it will form salt. Here Na, it will displace with Cl, it will exchange ions. So here NaCl it will form plus water H2O. So here we can say it is a neutralization reaction. When an acid, it reacts with base to form respective salts in water, that kind of scenario is basically said to be neutralization reaction. Clear? The next, there are types of neutralization that you will discuss very authentically in chapter number 2. So now let us go with next. Okay, corrosion and rancid is not there in your syllabus. Now let us go with oxidation and reduction. Very most important it is. Usually it will ask you as MCQ also, like in a particular reaction will be given, and that reaction which is being oxidized and which is being reduced, you should know. Okay, so first of all let us understand what do you mean by oxidation reaction. Oxidation is the gain of oxygen, loss of hydrogen, or loss of electrons. Okay, means where oxygen, here the name itself, oxidation, oxidize. Okay, it's the gain of oxygen, loss of hydrogen, hydrogen is being lost, and electrons are being lost. Whereas the reduction are quite opposite. Okay, reduction is the loss of oxygen, gain of hydrogen, or gain of electrons. Okay, oxygen is being lost. Here reduction means here reduced. Something is reduced means oxygen is being reduced. Here oxygen is added, oxygen is reduced. Okay, and here hydrogen is being gained, and gain of electrons. So now together when these reactions it occurs oxidation and reduction, then they form redox reaction. Then they form what? Redox reaction. Red stands for reduce and oxidation stands for ox. Okay, so now if you understand key concepts are in oxidation and reduction. Oxidation means gain of oxygen, removal of hydrogen, or loss of electrons. Okay, then next there is reduction means reduction of oxygen, gain of hydrogen, and gain of electrons. Okay, redox reaction where both the reaction happening, oxidation and reduction occurs simultaneously. Okay, now let's understand some examples like copper oxidation is there, okay, which is given in your book. Especially when copper is heated, okay, in air, in the presence of oxygen, okay. Now see what happens, that it reacts with oxygen to form black copper 2 oxide, means its color will be black. Okay, so reduction of copper oxide here, passing hydrogen, okay, passing hydrogen uh, over hot copper oxide, then it removes what, it removes oxygen that it will remove, and it will convert it back to copper. So copper oxide plus water plus hydrogen, then it will replace with what, copper plus H2. Now displacement reaction also we can say here, like for example, if we take zinc plus CuSO4, zinc plus CuSO4, so here it will react, zinc it will react with the sulfur, means it is being what, it is adding oxygen and it is losing. So here we can say it is being oxidized, it is being reduced. So which is being oxidized, that is said to be your reducing agent, and which is being like we can say which is being reduced, that is said to be oxidizing agent. Okay, hope you understood. Some other examples are given, and here copper oxide plus hydrogen, copper oxide it is being reduced. Here copper oxide it is being reacted with oxygen, means it is gaining of oxygen, it is said to be oxidized. And which substance is being oxidized, that is said to be your reducing agent, that is said to be your reducing agent. Okay, and here hydrogen is reacting with the water, right, oxygen. So here we can say it is an oxidation reaction. Okay, so together when the simultaneously occur, there is said to be redox reaction. Okay, then here the chapters ends. So hope you understood this chapter. Okay, clearly, very authentically I have explained you about oxidation and reduction, then displacement reaction, double displacement reaction in this video. Then next video we're going to go through next chapter, that is acid, base and salts, which weightage is around 3 marks. Okay, so stay tuned for the next chapter. Thank you.